Okay, so well, first off, you see one of my shirts that I got for Christmas. Gotta rep the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, I know what kind of team they are, but I gotta be faithful to my team, no matter what the record is. So I get an Oakland Raiders shirt, and I like it. But yeah, I just got out from seeing the movie Nosferatu, and that was the that was a very well made gothic horror movie about Dracula, pretty much. Um, so putting aside my personal feelings towards vampires, yeah, I'll maintain that thought on it. That it was a great movie. But anyway, let's see how would I explain it without too many spoilers. It's it starts in Germany, early 1830s. So it goes way back. And if you've seen the movie The Wolf Man with Benicio del Toro in it, if you saw that movie, it kind of runs along that lines, but hey, this movie was well done, much better than The Wolf Man. They put a lot of work into this one and it shows. So yeah, it starts Germany 1830s. And have you ever seen the show Peaky Blinders? Yeah, with Cillian Murphy, I think that's his name. You ever seen the show Peaky Blinders? Okay, well, one of the women in that show is a gypsy. In fact, she's my favorite character, the gypsy. Real smart chick. If you've seen that show, she knows a lot of stuff. And the reason I bring her up is apparently gypsies are just smart in all cinema. Because in this movie, you can't pull nothing over on them. Can't pull nothing over on them. We don't care if you're outsiders. We don't care if you're a supernatural creature. You're not pulling nothing over on us. And even if you're a creature of the night, nope, nope, can't get anything over on them. So that's where our movie starts with the monster of the film trying to hide amongst the humans. Only problem is the humans in question are gypsies, and they're way too smart for that. So now the monster has to get the essentials of his belongings moved to a more gullible crowd. And that's where our main human character comes in, Nicholas Holt. He's a he does that type of stuff. He handles that type of stuff, and so a lot of paperwork is given to Nicholas to bring to an estate, and he has to get those papers signed to get all his stuff moved to another land where the people are less likely to uh, combat this type of problem because the gypsies had it handled. Um, so Nicholas Holt is sent to the monster who's currently hiding amongst the gypsy folk, and he has to go to some uh, set apart castle type of deal and get some papers signed. And while he's there, he gets the papers signed, but some stuff happens, and he leaves a very changed man because he starts seeing stuff starts to happen to him, and when he goes back to his wife that's played by Lily Rose Depp, he comes back to her very different. And as you've seen in the preview of the movie, Lily Rose Depp, her character has already come into contact with this entity, but she's a she's kind of like one of them people that are already into the spiritual realm, and they're susceptible to spiritual attacks. She's one of those people, and she has already fought like a physical and spiritual battle with the monster in question. And since it has powers of like compulsion and can mess with your mind, she's not quite sure what's real and what's not. And even when she tries to explain it to somebody, she just comes out sounding crazy. So uh, they think she's just having fits at the time, because this is Germany, it's the 1800s. They don't quite know what's going on, and when you face with a threat like this, there's no possible way to explain this stuff naturally. So yeah, Nicholas Holt comes back to his wife, very changed person, and the stuff is sent by ship to the new land. But that's when the movie starts turning into Voyage of the Demeter. And if you've ever watched Voyage of the Demeter, yeah, some bad stuff starts to happen on that ship. And it starts to get plague ridden, and there's a lot of rats on the ship, so the plague is carried through them as well. But as the ship comes to the new land, it just completely crashes, and I guess the monster was on that ship, and now he's on the new land, free to terrorize a new, much more gullible group. And that's when, at the time, bodies start to drop, even in the new land, where they would think that they're more civilized people. They're like at the point of a scientific awakening. They're coming up with new theories. They're deep into science. They're starting to explain stuff more naturally. And so they start to believe that everything can be explained through science. And so when bodies start to drop in this new land, they figure, hey, maybe it's tuberculosis, maybe it's some other type of plague, whatever, which makes them even more susceptible, because they never think that it's actually some supernatural threat, but it is. But anyway, bodies start to drop in the new land, and before all that, we meet a new character. What's his name? He was just in the movie. Um, the guy who played Craven in the new Craven movie. Something Taylor Johnson, but Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah, we meet his character and his wife, and they've been in a civilized society this whole time. They didn't even hear about this sort of supernatural stuff. So when the bodies start to drop, they're one of the main people who are screaming plague, plague, plague. Uh then then the bodies that start to drop start hitting closer to home, and that's when we come to the Willem Dafoe character. Willem Dafoe, the guy who played Green Goblin. yeah, we come across the Willem Dafoe characters. He is sort of the detective of the movie, who everybody's looking for a more natural explanation to describe what's going on. They're looking at him like, why all these bodies dropping? You the detective, what's going on? But he sits on both sides. You got your people that are heretics, like one of the characters in the movie, and they're making sigils in the ground, and they're inviting all these entities into their heart, mind, and soul, and they're just with it. They're cool with it, with what's happening. Then you have these science-minded people who believe that every single thing possible can be explained through science, and they have to have a an explanation that they can wrap their mind around. Because if it's outside of their mind, then no, it's not real. And then you have the super religious people, where if you watched the movie Wolfman, you have this guy in the street quoting the Bible. I believe he said, yeah, I believe the quote was, "There are those who doubt the power of Satan, the power of Satan to change man into beast. But the ancient pagans did not doubt, did not Daniel warn Nebuchadnezzar? But the proud king did not heed Daniel, and so he was made likened unto a wolf and cast out from man." That character is duplicated in this movie, and you got some street preacher that's talking about what's plaguing the city, and of course he goes way off into left field into the book of Revelation. Now he's on the street talking about the creature with 7 heads and 10 crowns, and everybody's looking at him strange, and he's crying end times. But yeah, they're going to the Willem Dafoe character looking for a natural explanation to what's going on. So the Aaron Taylor Johnson character, now at this point in time, he's going a little frantic, just screaming, "I need natural answers. What's happening to us?" And the Nicholas Holt character and Lily Rose Depp, they're now living with Aaron Taylor Johnson and his wife, and because the Lily Rose Depp character is like connected to the monster somehow, now what what's come upon Lily Rose Depp is now plaguing the other people close to her, and now they're starting to suffer. And let's see what's so the Willem Dafoe character, he's like I said, he's in the middle. He believes in science, but he also believes in a power beyond science, and so does Lily Rose Depp. So he hears of a prophecy that tells about this stuff, and he's trying to tell people that, maybe there's something to this. And finally, the creature starts to kill off people that are super close to our main characters, and we need answers right now. You know what? Skip answers. We need solutions. And so Willem Dafoe comes with a solution and says, "Hey, I know you don't believe in this, but you gotta start trying everything in the book, okay?" And so they try this one last ditch option, and all the people that are involved with this, they go along with the plan, and the plan is risky, and there is a big battle at the end, and the creature and the main characters come to blows, and oof, there's a lot of death in the movie. In fact, it was a lot of stuff in this movie. There's a bit of there's a bit of virgin sacrifice in the movie. Uh there's some possession, some spiritual possession in the movie. Some uh exorcising. At least they try to exorcise some of the characters. There's prophecy. There's a bit of religious parallels. Yeah, there's a bit of religious parallels in the movie. Got to have that when you come into a supernatural movie with early folk, and there's a little bit of there's a little bit of baby eating. Yeah, the other white meat. There's a little bit of that too. In fact, there's a little dash of necrophilia in there in this movie. Yeah, there was mass hysteria. People were going crazy when they don't got answers and stuff is happening. Folks start to go crazy, and they did in this movie. But it was I would have to say the story went very very well. It was like perfectly paced for a horror movie. You if you've ever seen the Bela Lugosi vampire movies with him as Count Dracula, or you see the early day Nosferatu movie, they took that and they modernized the crap out of that movie. What I like about it is they didn't focus on the vampire powers and just focus plainly on that and trying to outdo other vampires. Where you got like how fast can the vampires go? How fast can we get them to go? How strong can we get him to be? Can we focus on the vampire feats to dazzle the crowd? They didn't really focus on that. They focused more on the storyline, on the old lore of vampires. They focused on the baseline of what it means to be a vampire and what it is to have a vampire threat amongst normal folks, amongst completely normal folks that have never dealt with anything supernatural before. Take some supernatural creature, put it in the middle of them, and that's the story. What does that story look like? And that's how you get the movie Nosferatu. So I like that they did that. They didn't focus too much on the powers of the vampire. They just focused more on the terror aspect, and they made it into a horror movie. It's kind of like when you were watching Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and how they presented the in not the Indominus Rex, but the Indoraptor, the black raptor with the I think yellow stripes, how they presented that thing, and how when he came to be, all of a sudden the movie went from dinosaurs to like a horror aspect. It became a horror movie, and you start to see like the dinosaur creep up on people, and you see its claws make shadows, and it's starting to scare people. Yeah, that's what this movie is. It focused heavily on the scare factor and the terror of what it means to have a supernatural threat amongst normal people, and I like that. It was a very old movie, Nosferatu, brought into modern times and ramped up. to as further as it could go without getting too too modern about it. And the look of it was good. The settings of it is if you could imagine what it was like living amongst the time of Jack the Ripper, it kind of looks like that. The streets are a little bit cleaner, but it's kind of like that, like early England, but it's Germany, and everything's all close together. It's like a town type of deal, but yeah, it's kind of like that. Everything's close together. Very early civilization. We're just creeping into the realm of science type of stuff, and it shows in this movie. But the setting is good. They did a good job on the setting. It's very nice. The look of it was real gothic. It had a real dark and gloomy look to it, and that works for a horror movie, and it worked perfectly here. The It had a lot of moon shots on the shadows, and if you ever lived in a country and you got a full moon and it's shining down on everything, it makes everything look great. Looks very pretty. But when you take that same kind of stuff and you put it in a horror movie and you bring to light all the things that are doing their deeds in the shadows, now it starts fight back against you. Now it's a horror movie. So the look of it was great. Uh, the characters, they played their role so well. That was one of the best parts of the movie. The human characters playing their roles so well. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he played his role of the husband of the believer in science. Of he grieved. He played the emotion of grief really well, anger really well. He did that good. Uh, Willem Dafoe, that guy. I don't even need to tell you how good he is. He's good in everything he does. He played his role of detective, kind of like Mr. Smith did in The Wolfman. Hugo Weaving, kind of like Hugo Weaving from The Wolfman. Willem Dafoe did that sort of job, but he got more into the acting portion, and it showed he did very well. Let's see, Nicholas Holt, which is like the third or maybe fourth movie he's played that's supernatural. It's like what, his third time coming across a vampire. The guy's gonna start to get typecast if he doesn't mess around. But if even if he does, I'm cool with it because he's doing a fantastic job, and he did a good job in this movie. He played the role of Lily Rose Depp's character, her husband, real well. Uh, he played terrified really good. He was just like Lily Rose Depp. I mean, those two played their roles fantastic. Speaking of, the surprise for me was Lily Rose Depp herself. I'm not too into her career. I'm not very familiar with her. But in this movie, she was perfect. She acted very well. She was very physically into her role. She did a lot of physical stuff in here, and uh her physical acting, it was top notch. She played terrified very well. The little bit of determination she was supposed to show in her character, she did that. That was an A plus. Uh, the little bit of anger she was supposed to show towards her co-stars inside the movie, she played that well. Uh, Playing the loving wife, she did that perfectly too with Nicholas Holt. So Lily Rose Depp, it came in as a surprise for me. I didn't think I'd enjoy her character too much, but she did perfect, and so did Nicholas Holt. So the acting was one of the things that shined in the movie. So let's see. The action the action was pretty subdued in this movie. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't all about the creature's abilities and what it could do. And it wasn't all about that. But they showed that he had some powers. He had like a little bit of shadow manipulation, compulsion, and the way that the movie showed it in the eyes of what it meant to be a human, it almost appears as though the guy can teleport, but it's really just super speed. They showed that pretty well too. The creature itself was, if you put your mind into what it meant to be a human going through this, the creature was terrifying. All right. He did his job very well. The voice was good. The creature design, I'm not sure because everything was in the shadows. So if you look at him in the shadows, he is super scary. And I can see how Nicholas Holt was scared like almost the whole movie. But the creature design was good. When it was when you finally actually see the creature, it's still pretty good, but not as scary. And I guess that was one of the religious parallels that it had in the movie, where when the natural person is faced with a supernatural evil, the evil might look scary, but if you're a true believer, no matter how scary the evil is, there is a power greater than that evil. And if you call upon that power and it shines a light on that evil, all of a sudden the evil is not as scary. And I think that's what played into the movie. Like you see the evil in the shadows, and it's just you looking at the evil. Evil looks unstoppable. Evil looks scary. But once you call upon a power higher than that evil, not so scary anymore. I mean, it still looks a little scary, but now it can be overcome. So that was good. The storyline was evenly paced. It was perfectly paced, actually. It did really well there. So my overall thoughts on the movie is me being the person that I am and how much I hate vampire characters. Personally, I'm gonna give it a D minus, but that's just me personally. If I if I take my mind out of my personal bias for that and just look at the movie for what it is and how well a job they did, yeah, okay, that movie did exactly what it's supposed to do. It took the Nosferatu original movie, brought it to modern times, and did a perfect job. So I'm I'm gonna give it an A. If you wanted to watch Nosferatu and you're really into vampire stuff and you enjoyed Voyage of the Demeter, you really gonna love this movie. It was good. So far, I've been picking a lot of movies that I just think ahead of time that I'm gonna like, and so far, it's done a good job. I picked a lot of good movies, and this one is definitely no exception. This movie was very good, very well done, great action, great storyline. Even the music, the mood that the music set, where it sets the tone and it subtly rises as you build up to a scare, it did a perfect job there too. Even the music was perfect. The scares were well placed, a little bit of jump scares, but you know, it wasn't to a level where it was annoying. So yeah, it did a this movie did an excellent job on resurrecting the story of Nosferatu and making it relevant again. So if you wanted to watch this movie, if you had a urge to watch this movie, I I recommend it. You should go see it. For me, it's an A.